What is up, y'all? In this video, I'm going to be ranking every single survivor in the entire game, and this is survivor only list. So, killer skills or killers on the survivors. And if you do not hear your main survivor for most of the video, that probably means that your main survivor is at the end. So I'm going to be saying the worst survivors to the best survivors. So, like, imagine I say Magician first. Magician will be the first one, as in the worst survivor in my opinion. And I'll keep going until I get to the best survivor. So yeah, let's get straight on into it. So the first survivor on this list is going to sadly have to be Rapper. Rapper is not a good survivor. This just needs a buff so bad. I feel like there are so many better things like in the meta right now. In sense, people are running no skill meta. Rapper's not going to be too effective. Also, Zero Ghost just made a video on this, so I'm going to be remaking his list because I think his list was kind of bad. He put Reporter at like A tier, I think. Reporter's my main, and I'm not going to glaze Reporter this video, but all I'm going to say is Reporter is really good. So, Rapper needs a buff so bad, and it's genuinely crazy how, like, the Rapper has been bad for this long, and they still don't care to buff it. Like, they care to nerf Monk 2 times, and then they can't even buff Rapper once. It's actually kind of crazy, but let's get on to the next survivor, which is going to be Monk. Monk is absolute buns. And when in the first week it came out, it was so good. I remember playing Killer, and they were like, playing against 4 monks would be a nightmare. Genuinely, they would put down their stats and make it so like a hallway that you could normally go through was already blocked off because there's 4 monks, and it's just impossible to play back then. But now, since Monk got a nerf like a week after it got added, it became Tukey butt. Killers could use Mask and Flash, 2 of the most used abilities in the entire game, to get into the Monk barrier and getting out of the Monk barrier. And Ghost or Puppeteer could use their abilities, so could Spider. Pretty much every single killer could use their ability in the circle, which made it basically useless without just getting away from the killer for 13 seconds. And in all, Monk is just a terrible survivor, and they just now kinda buffed it by making it so you can't get out of the circle, but in general it's hard for the survivors to get you in the circle in the first place, so I don't know why like they think that would be good, because either way it's gonna be hard getting the killer in the circle. So yeah, let's go on into the third worst survivor, which sadly I will have to say is Magician. Magician is extremely good, one of the best survivors in the entire game if you're trying to save. But in all, the stats on Magician are kinda bad, and Magician's ability is not used well for things that aren't like her ability is really good well for getting away and saving people. And getting away is fairly counter, because all the killer will do is wave their sword around, and eventually hit you. So it's really, really, really hard to be able to use Magician effectively on getting away. But this is an extremely good survivor if you're maining saving your teammates. In that case, Magician is good. But still, it has to be the third worst survivor, because there are so many better picks on this list. The next survivor, and I might get hate for this, is Agent. I just feel like Agent is not at all right now in the meta, and before it was really good, but I feel like there's survivors that can be more effective on the killer, because now looping is a bit harder, because the killers are now not as new gen, and they notice how to like counter looping a little bit better. So even though Agent has a really fast one, that really fast looping and stats, it's still not the best on ability wise, and in this meta, Agent is not the best. Hopefully next meta it will. But yes, The third worst survivor, I'm so sorry, will be Thief. Thief right now is not the best. I'm using Thief to get it legendary because I have like 5 or 6 legendaries and Thief's just in my way. So, but Thief, I can't lie, Thief is not hard to play. All you gotta do is saw every single cage and absolutely rage bait the killer. I feel like this is like first or second most rage baiting survivor, because if playing against the right killer as a thief could be good, like Ghost or I think like Spider would be kind of bad against Thief. So would Joker. I feel like they wouldn't really counter Thief as hard as other killers would. And I feel like if you get against one of those killers, the Thief would just be overpowered and it would be better. But since we don't have many survivors left, I had to put Thief in a worse position. But now, the next one is going to be Nurse. Nurse right now is just, it's great, okay, it's great. But I feel like any other survivor can also be as effective as Nurse. And playing with the right person with Nurse is going to absolutely cook. You're done if you have like a good player playing Nurse. But if you have a player, not necessarily a new player, but a player that's not as good at Nurse and not as skilled in like main Nurse, they'll be selfish and not heal their teammates. They'll like never open chests for some reason, and I feel like it's just useless compared to other ones if you have a bad teammate or if you have someone that is bad with it in their hands. Nurse is good. It's just most players, as I said, are bad with Nurse, and that makes it bad. But if more comp players team up like me, a comp player teams up and absolutely destroys all the no-skill nurses, we will begin domination. We will have good nurses that heal our teammates. So yeah, let's go on into the next survivor. Next survivor, and I'm so mad at myself for having to say this, has to be Mathematician. I know, but my favorite killer in the entire game is Butcher, and I love Butcher. I like using Butcher. It's great. It's great. And Butcher is hard countering half of the survivors. But the thing is, Butcher is now a little bit harder to get. So I feel like now that Puppeteer is the starter killer, it makes lots of survivors that got countered by Trapper a lot easier to use. Because Trapper would be the new player killer that they would automatically get. And there was so many survivors that got countered by Trapper in so many maps that Trapper was like really good on. So I feel like Trapper not becoming the main killer anymore, I mean the first killer on you unlock, really helped out the survivor side of people, because now it's way easier to use like stuff that got hard countered by that, like stuff like Nurse, Reporter, and Mathematician. Some of the 3 best ones got absolutely countered by Trapper, and I'm kind of happy that Puppeteer got replaced for it, because now Trapper is not as like really good, because it's a little bit harder to get. So in the next one, and I'm mad again for saying this, but it's gotta be Reporter. Reporter's my main, and I love this class. This class is so good. But right now, the last 2 survivors left that I haven't said are just better than this on the meta right now, because those have barely any counters to them. So that's why I have to say Reporter. There's nothing really flawed about Reporter. He has great stats. He has a great ability. His ability is good for saving and getting away from scenarios. Like, Reporter is basically a better magician. A reporter can do the exact same things as a magician, but basically better. It's really good on saving, and it's really good on getting away from scenarios where you're trapped next to the killer. So then, in second place, we'll have Hacker. Hacker is super good, probably the best survivor for like to help your teammates. If you want to get out and get a perfect win, Hacker teammates will be the best. Like, Hackers are really good because of their saving ability. Also, something I learned is so you can point the hacker thing at the killer without using your ability, and the line will show you where the killer is if he's close. So it's kind of basically like using your tracker ability, but just better, and you're not wasting one of your abilities. Hacker also have terrible chest speed. It takes like 15 to 20 seconds to open a chest, and I feel like its pallets and generator functions aren't as good as like saving wise, but it's fine. And then the number one survivor in the entire game, in my opinion, is Policeman. This thing is absolutely brutal to play against. Even the mask is the only thing that hard counters Policeman, and still if you use mask, you get knocked back. And mask has gotten a nerf, so if you shoot enough or if you flashlight him, the mask will go away. So that makes Policeman way easier to use, and having literally 0 counters in the game currently. Not even Puppeteer can counter him, one of the strongest killers in the game. I don't know how to stop Policeman, but yeah, Policeman is such an easy survivor to use. Whether you're trying to get out of scenarios or you're trying to save someone, it's extremely easy to use. Stats are the best, but the chest speed and the stats are, they're in the middle. They're not the best, but they're not bad. So yeah, that's my full ranking, worst to best, on all of the survivors. I'll give you a quick look at all the survivors right now. So that's every single survivor. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Part 2 will be coming out on killers, and peace.